Would you just pray with me before we start this morning? God, we thank you so much for this opportunity we have to worship you together. We come into this room with all different kinds of things going on in our lives, distraction, stress, burdens that we've carried into this place, and we need your help to cut past and through all that so that we can hear you. Pray that you'd be speaking to us through your word, that you would be encouraging those who need encouragement, strengthening those who need strength, even correcting those of us who need correction. I've been there many Sundays. I just pray that you would bless this time we have together. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, welcome 930 Orgsburg. Welcome 930 Tremont. Good to have you guys online. Man, our location, if you're new to us, we have two locations, one here and one in Tremont, both equally awesome. In Orgsburg, I'll play favorites depending on which service, is more responsive. But campuses, I love you both. I can't wait to see you guys in Tremont sometime in the near future. And man, it's good to have you all. So we got 2 weeks left. This one kind of wraps up the story in our series, The Prodigals. Next week, we kind of have like the cap on the end of it all. And we're looking in Luke chapter 15. We've taken like 6 weeks to walk through this chapter just piece by piece. 3 powerful parables. This is off to a great start. Where Jesus used real things from real life, simple stories to convey really powerful truths about life and about spirituality and about him. And in this series, he's just been revealing the heart of the Father in response to the complaints of the religious, who said, this Jesus, he eats with the wrong people. He's spending time with the wrong people. Those are the sinners. What's he doing over there? And in response to their complaints about him, he told these 3 stories, one about a lost sheep, one about a lost coin, and this one about a lost son, which is a little deceiving because this one wasn't just about a lost son. My second child, for a small period of time, really enjoyed cross-country running. I don't know if you know anything about cross-country running. I do not know a lot about cross-country running, except to say that I don't want to do it, ever. But as a supportive family, we try to go to as many or all of our kids' events. And just, I like to err on the side of enthusiastic support, even if that means other grown-ups think I'm a little crazy. I really don't care. And so we go up to this school way up north. I forget the name of the school. It was like way up there. It was Weatherly, for a cross-country meet. Now, I'm new to this is an early meet. I'm new to the cross-country scene. I've never had a kid in it. I've never been interested in it. Apparently, these kids, they all go up, they line up, they run this like course. It's like 3 miles or something. And there's not a lot of like crowds. There's no like big crowd cheering them on because the run is so parents go up there and they kind of like spread out and they find different spots to like cheer on their kid. And really crazy parents who are in much better shape than me might go to one spot and then run to another spot and then run to another spot. I don't have that kind of energy. So I'm like, I told my youngest, like, let's go park it like near the finish line. There was this course had like this big straightaway where they kind of ran through this parking lot and then like the bus drop off area before they got to the finish line. He's like, yeah, let's do it. So I get there and I'm like standing there and I'm surprised at how few people, especially from our team or parents, probably because it was so far away, have come to this event and are at this actual finish line to cheer on our kids. So I'm like, let's get amped up. And my youngest is like, nah. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing it. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I'm getting amped up for these kids, but I'm going to need some help because I don't know all these kids' names. I know my kid's name. I don't know the rest of their names. So they're running up, and I'd catch one of them coming, and I'd be like, he'd tell me their name, and I'd cheer for him like a little crazy. And the more this is going on, the more amped up I'm getting. And Finally, there's this kid I knew because he had played through the Little League baseball system, but I knew his name started with a Q, but I couldn't think of his name. So I turn and he's like exhausted. He's pushing in towards the finish line. I'm like, yo, man, what's this kid's name? And he's like, his name is Quentin. So I'm like, I'm going to get extra amped up. This is one of those boys from the Little League. I understand this kid. I don't understand the rest of the kids, but I understand this one. You know, he's probably staying in shape for baseball or something. So I start like screaming, yeah, Quentin, go Quentin. You got this, Quentin. I even picked up a few things at track cross country. People yell, like they're always yelling, come on, kick it. I don't know what that means. There's nothing to kick. But they say that at these running events. So I start yelling that. I'm like, come on, kick it, Quentin, finish strong, finish strong. He's like, finishing strong. Gave me a weird look like when he got about to, but he finished strong and he got past the finish line and I'm like, yes. And I look at my son who meanwhile had a completely different plan. All this time that I had been plotting my support for our Pine Grove area cross country runners, all this time, my youngest had been plotting something completely different. He had been plotting the moment where he could feed me a wrong name. I look at him and he is like doubled over laughing. This kid doesn't get in trouble a lot. I did not see this coming. And I'm like, dude, what's so funny? And he looked up at me. He couldn't even get the words out. I knew right away as he couldn't get the words out. He goes, Dad, his name's not Quentin. It's Quincy. You are gonna pay for that one. I have not gotten my revenge, but I'm planning it. This passage starts off with a meanwhile. It means all this time while something is going on over here, there's a parallel reality going on over here. All this time that the father is celebrating and excited and joyous about his son's return. He's come home. He's made it to the finish line. Over here, you have something else entirely going on. And in this story, though, we give all the attention to the lost son who went to a far-off country. Over here, you have the real point of the story, which is this other brother. The message today is called the Lurker Prodigals. And I have to tell you, because you're in church today, and here or Tremont, this is the one we got to really watch for. Let me just read it to you. Can I read this part to you? I don't know why my Bible keeps getting further and further away from me, but I refuse to put those things on unless I absolutely have to. It says this in verse 25. Meanwhile, and you have this theological tension that builds and comes out in this meanwhile. This meanwhile that means all this time, all this other stuff has been going on. All this time, this son has been going out there. This father has been waiting for him, seeing him, embracing him, hugging him, bringing him back into the fold, throwing the party for him. All the while, meanwhile, there was joy over here. There was bitterness growing over here. What's your heart look like? Meanwhile, the older son was in the field, this lurker prodigal. We know he's part of this story because we know when they said younger son, we assume there's an older son in the story, but we haven't heard about this older son. The older son was in the field. This older son who the religious leaders probably would have identified with in the story. In the cultural context, they were receiving it. These religious people that were complaining about Jesus, they would have known about this older son. They would have been offended for this older son on this older son's behalf way before we in our culture picked up his part of the story. The older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him what was going on. "Your brother has come," he replied, "and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound." The older brother, upon hearing this really good news, became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him, but he answered his father, "Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and have never disobeyed your orders, yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him." "My son," the father said, "you were always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." The younger son went to a far-off land, distant, rebelling against everything that the father was, everything in the father's heart. His rebellion was blatant, easy to see. The guy takes his money, runs off to Gentile country far off, just leaving everything behind, trying to start a life completely different from the life he had. It's easy to see. This brother was just in the field, but equally as lost and much harder to see. That's why he's a lurker prodigal, because he's around. He's spending time with the Father. He's sharing meals with the Father. He's in the Father's house. They're sleeping under the same roof. This older brother is just in the field, but even though the field is just over there, he could not be farther or more distant from the Father. And this is the scary part for me. The blatant rebellion in my life is easy to pick up on. Yes, sometimes in the stubbornness of my own heart or the twisted way I think, I'll continue on with it for a little while, but usually I know it's there, I know what I'm doing, and I know in those moments where I can relate to the younger son, I know that my heart is off, that something's wrong inside me that needs to be made right. But this guy in the field, he's distant, but he's convinced himself that he's doing right. He's far, but he's convinced himself that he's close. He is not even close to being aligned with his Father in works or in heart. But the perception that he has bought into himself is that he is still right with the Father. This guy, he's not far off, but he's just as distant. In this culture, in this time, this oldest son would have expected to be at the house. He would not have been expected to be out working all the time in the fields with the hired servants. He's in the field, far from where he should be, and his work is not in line with the Father's direction for him, and his heart is not aligned with the Father's heart. Two things that just are way off from the beginning. He is not aligned, though he is close. In Matthew 15 and verse 9, Jesus quotes, talking about the religious, he quotes from Isaiah 29:13. This is a problem that persists. As long as there are churches, there will be older brothers who are convinced they're right when they're so wrong. Jesus says, these people, they honor me with their lips. They talk a good game. They say the right things. They sure sound beautiful when you shut up for a second during worship and listen to their voices all together singing. They honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are merely human rules. You can add effort to stuff, but if your heart is not in the right place, that effort is always wasted or in vain. Can you see this in regular, people relationships? You say you're sorry, but your heart really isn't sorry. That usually doesn't go too well for you. You promise to be different and you work on being different. You put the effort on being different, but your heart is still misprioritizing the things in your household. Your wife is still not number one in your life, right? And that's not going to work for you. You're putting effort in the right direction, but your heart is off. It applies equally the same to our relationship with God. You can do all the right stuff in all the right directions. You could serve on a team here, get involved in a group, give money to people who need it, carry groceries for an old lady in a parking lot. And while all those things are good, they can still be wasted if your heart is not aligned with the Father's heart for you. He was doing the right stuff, but it was still so wrong. It looked good on the outside, but his heart was still cold and far from God. And when you are misaligned, you always miss it. This field was also a symbol of self-righteousness. Self-righteousness is this concept that we buy into that says that we can make it right. That's what self-righteousness is. In a spiritual context, in a relationship with God, self-righteousness means we can make it right with God. I will bend my behavior, adjust my morality to prove to God that I deserve it. I will earn what he has for me. I'll prove it. Interesting enough, all of the religions of the world, if you take away all the things, have this at their core, except for Christianity, which has grace at its core. Self-righteousness means we can make it right. I can do the right things. I'll invest the right time. I'll do whatever I can. And if I work hard enough, if I do the right things, if I'm spiritual enough, if I sing the songs loud enough, if I clap after the songs, if I serve on a team, if I'm out in the parking lot waving a thing or driving a golf cart, if I'm generous enough, if I'm kind enough, if I'm forgiving enough, if people think that I'm better than those people over there, whatever I can do to make it right with God. And that's what this field represents for this oldest son. It's a symbol of self-righteousness. I will work hard so that I can get what I deserve. And when that happens, what starts to go on in our lives is we start to base our identity on what we do or don't do. That's the religious leaders in this story. An identity solely based on what they do and what they don't do. Your identity with God is not based on what you do for him. It's based on what he has done for you. Your relationship with God is not made right by what you do to impress him. It's made right by what Jesus has done in our place for us on a cross. The field is a symbol of self-righteousness, and he comes back and he is surprised. He should have never been surprised. Should have never been surprised. At this point in the story, he doesn't even know that the son has come home. The father has scattered servants to gather stuff. There's a commotion. He ran out of his house. This was a scene, and the older son is oblivious to the whole thing. He comes back, he's surprised, and he gets angry. The original language for this word angry here in the Greek, it means to swell up with indignation, to smolder with anger. If your heart is off, you will not be able to celebrate the good blessings that God gives others. And what angers him here is grace. It's not just that the son is back. It's that the Father has lavished his blessing onto the Son again. And grace always overturns the apple cart of religious practice and morality. Grace offends those who have spent so much time trying to prove they're right, they're better, that God accepts them. Grace. Anger is never about one thing, right? It's never just about the anger. There's always something going on underneath, and we know this. We know this. For this son, I don't know what it was. Maybe he was just feeling overlooked. Maybe he felt used. Maybe he was jealous of the younger son. Maybe he was just feeling betrayed by the system that he invested so much time in and that let him down. I don't know. But his speech to the Father serves as a warning to us. He answered his father, "Look, all these years I've been slaving." Now is when he speaks up. In this culture, it was the older son's duty to defend the family's honor on behalf of the patriarch, who would be the father. This is his first speech. He doesn't say anything when the brother's thinking about and talking about leaving. He doesn't butt himself in and sit his brother down when his brother asks his father for his inheritance and gathers all his stuff and take him on. He's not stepping into this situation at any other time but right now. And I got 5 things for you, warnings, lessons for us. Ready? We're going to rip through these quick. The first one is he was silent when he should have spoken. It's the sin of being passive. These are, man, I wish this wasn't so heavy. This is common today. Yeah, right? You can't go to the top 10 list in the Old Testament and point to one of those and go, "Oh, there it says, thou shalt not be passive." But it's almost like a sin of omission. He's not speaking when he should speak. Until now, he has chosen to just be in the background. He doesn't step up. He doesn't fulfill his calling. He's not doing any of his responsibilities as an older brother as it pertains to the family. He is silent when he should have spoken. Have you ever been silent when you know you should have said something? Man, that burns. That burns. But how about you failed to lead when you should have led in your home? How about when we don't defend somebody who's struggling when we should have defended them against the gossip that is being spilled about them? How about when we know somebody's real story and other people are talking trash and we don't step in to say, maybe there's something else going on? How about all the times where we choose silence when we should have spoken to defend those who Jesus says to defend, to lift up those Jesus says we should lift up, to care for those Jesus says we should care for? How about all those times where we are silent and sinning because we're choosing a passive route? Here's the second warning. I'm sorry this is heavy. He didn't go where he should have gone. You see, for every party, the oldest son was supposed to be the co-host along with the father to make the father not have to do all the things that the father would have to do hosting a party. He should have been the host, the co-host, but he didn't go where he should have gone. And you have here popping its ugly head in the older son, not just being passive, but also being lazy or apathetic. This isn't just, I don't want to be bothered. I'm going to take a passive role. I'm not going to step up. I'm not going to do the things I know God is calling me to do. This is, I just don't care. I can't be bothered. There's some noise going on over there, but I'm going to finish what I'm doing in the field. He wasn't going to the house. It said when he came near to the house. He wasn't headed there to figure out what he missed so that he could fix it or go, well, something's going on there. Maybe I should be involved. It's my responsibility as the oldest son. No, he just is by it and hears the noise. And apathy is something that creeps in. You usually don't see it in people that are new to the faith. You see it when we've been to church for a minute. When we know the verses. When we've sung the songs. When we know the stories. That's where apathy starts to pop in. Number 3. The outside looked good, but his heart was cold. He says, I've been slaving all this time for you. And what you catch in that phrase is religious performance. I've been slaving all of this time for you. And can I say, I don't know, I might have to do some research on this later, but it certainly seems that religious performance is also a sin. It's not in line with the heart of God. It's not doing the right things for the right reasons for God's glory. It's doing it for self. And that sounds to me like pride. It's selfishness. The worship team's going to come out while I wrap up with these last two. You're hanging in pretty good. It started funny, Josh, but I don't know right now. This is pretty heavy. Number 4, he couldn't see what was right in front of him. You've never even given me one goat. I never even had one goat. And the father's like, what? How could you have been here for so long and not know that everything I have is yours? How could we have spent so much time together and you still don't get it? Everything I have is yours. Take whatever you want, do whatever you want, play with whatever you want. If that's goat, if you want a goat, get a goat. It's always been yours. You've always been here. You've always been saturated in my blessing, but you didn't see it, and you see the sin of entitlement or distraction in this passage. It was always yours. And sometimes we spend so much time learning about God that we fail to see him. We're in the house and we sing words about grace and love and about the amazing things God has done through Christ for us on our behalf, and we're unmoved. And I'm not judging, because it happens to me too. And I have to sit here and I have to pray that God would peel off the layers of my heart that I've allowed to build up so that I could be affected again by him and who he is and his character. And I have to do that a lot because I spend a lot of time in his house. And the more time I spend in his house, the easier it is to focus on the stuff of him instead of him. I become distracted, or I feel entitled, and I can't see what's right in front of me. It's the Father. He's the best. And all that he has, he lavishes on us. Every good and perfect spiritual gift comes from him. And here's the last one. He stayed lost while looking found. It's the hidden rebellion of his heart that does not betray him until the end of the story. But the hidden rebellions of our hearts will always betray us. He stayed lost while looking found and being close. God, I do not want that for me or for you. Can we just take a second to say, I'm done playing religious games. I'm not at church to just check a box off of a card that I've built in my head. I'm not here to impress anybody. I'm gonna bring my insecurities in here. I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna dress it up. I'm here for one thing. It's not the preacher. It's not the music. It's not the good conversations with people. It's not the better air conditioning system that we just got out. It's not Fred and Myrtle, our decoys in the lake that you think are real and take pictures of. It's not why I come here to this church. You didn't know that was their name? I come here. I'm coming here hungry. I don't want to see all the other stuff. I just want to see the Father. I don't want to be close and miss it. I don't want to be in the house and not know him. I'm not going to do all this stuff. I'm just going to align my heart with his, and that is why I'm here. The end of the story is a cliffhanger. And we'll get into this next week a little bit more, but there's no closure. At the end of the story Jesus tells, it's open-ended, and rightfully so, because it's a choice laid before all of us. Meanwhile, what's your heart look like? All this time, has it been about church or Jesus? All this time, you've been doing all the right stuff, but have you been missing it? Meanwhile, what does your heart look like? God, we thank you so much. While this one is heavy, it's also important. And I would love to just preach fun and silly and inspiring. That would make me feel good and it would make us feel good, but you didn't tell these parables just to be fun and inspiring. We said it at the beginning, so we shouldn't be surprised now. You were cutting through all the nonsense, revealing the heart of the Father and exposing ours. Forgive us for the sin of being passive or apathetic or self-righteous or playing religious games. Forgive us for being distracted and entitled children. We don't want to be close to you but not get it. Help us to see your heart. Remove the calluses. We choose joy of knowing the Father. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.